I'm Ed Bass. I was born in Park Place on Easton Street in 1930, July the 5th. We lived in Park Place, and my father, he was a barber over there. He owned the shop, and Vadreen run one of the chairs there in the barber shop. And he built a two-story house behind the barber shop that we had moved to. He didn't have any particular hours. As long as someone was there, he would be there. And Christmas, we always went to Nacogdoches. So Christmas Eve, we'd open the presents, and we couldn't do that until he quit barbering. So I'd hang around the front door to about sometime 11 or 12 at night, Christmas Eve, before he would close the shop. And of course, we'd open the presents and then get up the next morning and go to Nacogdoches. He sold the house and the barber shop and the restaurant, and we moved to Pasadena around 1944 and bought a house on Johnson. I remember Daddy had a Model T at one time that if we'd make a trip to Nacogdoches, he'd pull the pan off and tighten the rods up. Being an automotive business, I can't believe that he would do things like that, but he, I guess, figured that's a way to make sure he could get up there and back. He was like me. He didn't have any mechanic experience at all. Ever what he did, he learned as he did it. My mother was very instrumental in my life. They used to have an ice cream truck come by, and I says, "Can I get a nickel to go get an ice cream?" And so I come back with about 3 ice cream cones, and she said, "How'd you get 3 ice with 1 nickel?" Well, they had this penny board that you would use a penny, punch it out, and you might win a free one. So I took my nickel and gambled and got 3 ice cream cones. Okay. So that night, Mother says, are you sure you just got a nickel out of my purse?" And I says, "Yeah." So I went on upstairs, and when I got up there, I couldn't handle it anymore. I come down the stairs crying. Said, "Mother, I took 2 nickels, 3 nickels out of your purse." And in those days, she knew exactly what I'd taken out of her purse. And that was the last time I ever decided to lie. Mother never washed dishes. And me and Doris, my sister, before my brother come, would have to wash the dishes and dry them after supper. And when she'd go on a date, I'd hold off to the last minute trying to cut as good a deal as I could do to get her to do 2 or 3 nights where I didn't have to do it. And it was always panic. She'd sweat it to the end, but I'd always hang in there to make her cut me a better deal for the dishwashing. I love to fish. If I could, I'd talk my grandfather and my uncle to go to the forks of the river or old burnt pine to fish. And Mother would complain because Daddy would use our car to go down these old rough roads, but boy, I'd give anything every time I'd go fishing. Fishing become a very important part of my life. I don't know why, but I never could get business out of my mind except when I was fishing. Still have a bass boat, still have an offshore boat, have a shrimp boat. Don't use them as much as I used to, but I love to fish. We moved on Johnson Street. There was one house between me and my wife, Noji, of 65 years. So we were raised, played rubber guns and hide and seek ever since I was about 13, I guess, when I got out there. Well, that's me and Noji, I think, when we got married. I know we didn't spend much money on a wedding. We had it at her house. I think her mother maybe made her dress. Gene and Doris was best man and bridesmaid. We had a very few people there, her family and my family. I know we hid our car because they was going to do something to it in those days. So we hid it and then took another car and sneaked off before anybody ever found out where we'd gone. And we'd gone on our honeymoon. I was so glad that we got a girl because she never did say anything about the boys, but you know, a woman wants a girl. And so it worked out real great. We got 2 boys and 1 girl. And we lost Lonnie, and so we still got Carrie and Dee Dee. Been really great kids. When they sent me to Dallas with Burroughs, and I stayed up there one weekend, and I said, I ain't staying no more. I'm going home. Well, you can't. You watch me. But I decided that was it. I didn't travel no more after that. If we ever got trips, I'd say, can Noji go? Yeah. No. If it's a no, I didn't go. We just have been, we just never have traveled or done anything, hardly not together. And of course the kids, we'd drag them along and we'd go out and fish or crab or flounder all night. And she'd drive home and I'd sleep and then go to work. All night we'd either fish or crab or flounder. And we'd have all the kids with us. But we did everything pretty well with the family.